Welcome back, Fritzy.
That is awesome. Thanks,
Welcome back, Fritzy. You were down. Some say you were out. I had total faith in you that you would pull through, and thank God the Danettes are reunited once again.
Right, Reg.
Welcome back, not Cotter. Welcome back, Fritzy.
Reg, you called Fritzy soft last week. You went, how long's Fritzy been out? And I went, 2 weeks. And you went, 2 weeks? Soft.
What I really meant to say was, Fritzy, I apologize. I don't know what something got the best of me, but I'm glad you're back. I'm glad we're all reunited.
Thanks, bud.
Reg will be calling the Timberwolves at the Raptors coming up Thursday night at 7 Eastern on TNT. All right, Klay Thompson lights it up, 60 and 29 minutes of work. Should Steve Kerr have left him in, Reg?
The basketball part of me, the 18-year vet, of course you want to stay in there. Of course I'm going to go to my coach and say, let me play the least the first 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth. That's the basketball part. The analysts not wanting to tinker or mess with the basketball gods, you can't do that. Number one, you're up by 30-plus points, and you were getting wherever you wanted and whatever shot you wanted. You never want to piss off the basketball gods. And I kind of go back to, and again, this is not Tom Thibodeau's fault, but Kevin Harlan and I were doing a playoff game when Derrick Rose very first injured and tore his ACL in that playoff game versus Philadelphia. It was game one. They were up 14, 15 points with like a minute left. Normally, you scrub the benches, you take your starters out, and it's a playoff game anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Thib didn't do that. Well, you know what happened to Derrick Rose. If you're Steve Kerr, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because, of course, the player wants to stay. And what's the end game, 65, 70? What's the flip side? ACL, turned ankle, broken. There's so many things that could go wrong. Steve Kerr erred on the side of the basketball gods. Smart decision. You've got 60 in 29 minutes. That's baller. That is balling.
How many do you think he could have had last night?
70.
Oh, okay,
He left some on the table, first of all. You mean if he went back in?
Yeah.
I would say 70.
Yeah.
But he left money on the table. He missed 2 wide-open threes. He missed that free throw late. So, I mean, that's 67 right there. If he plays 3 or 4 minutes in the fourth, let's tack on another 4 to 5 points. But let me just say this. I love when shooters and scorers go crazy like Steph, Klay, Damian Lillard. Look, it's great. Now let me put on my adopted Hoosier hat. What the hell are y'all doing? Are you serious? You're not going to – his butt never touched the floor one time in that game.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Larry Bird, you got to be rolling over in your grave right now watching that game.
Wait, Larry's not dead.
I know, but that's a speech I always say.
Okay.
You got to be rolling over. You got to be rolling over, man. Are you kidding me? I'm trying to be objective here, but for me to play 18 years with one team, that can't happen. I would have fouled out. He played 29 minutes. I would have fouled out in the first 10 minutes trying to kill this dude. He did not touch the floor one time. That's embarrassing. But on the flip side, I like seeing it. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing it. I've done it, and I've been knocked down on my behind during that game. Klay never touched the deck one time in that game.
Could anybody else currently in the NBA have lobbied their coach to stay in a game that was a blowout?
And they're sitting on 60.
LeBron, I'm going to guess, if he's got 60 going into the fourth quarter and they're up by 20?
I'm guessing maybe a DeMar DeRozan. I'm guessing maybe a Damian Lillard.
Boogie Cousins would. He just wouldn't listen to the coach, and he'd just stay in there, right?
Well,
He does that nightly.
Yeah, that's nothing new for Boogie.
No.
He's making those kind of decisions on a nightly basis.
But to have 60 and going into the fourth in a blowout. Now, Kobe could do it.
And I believe, well, when Kobe got what did he get, 71?
81.
What did he get? 81. When he got the 81, but it wasn't a blowout. It was within 10 to 15 points.
Yes.
Which I can understand why he's still on the floor. But 60 up, 30 plus, I never want to mess with the basketball gods because they always come back. And to me, what's the end game?
Well, you just have one of those
65?
one of those magical nights. But, you know,
doesn't it sound better, 60 and 29 versus, 63 and 33? No, that kind of sounds good too, right?
Reg, if he goes back in, you know they're going to give him the ball, and he's going to get a chance. 70 sounds pretty cool. 60's nice.
Okay, and that's the point I'm making about the Indiana Pacers. If that would have been me versus the New York Knicks, and I'm sitting on 60, and I'm going back in, and I'm up by 30 trying to embarrass them, not that he's trying to embarrass them, but you are unintentionally embarrassing them. That's when guys get taken out the air, and you don't see that anymore in today's game because we have review and all that. Back in the day, someone would have seriously got hurt. Seriously. You've got to put some love taps on them. So don't tinker with the basketball gods because there's going to be a game where it's close and you're sitting on 45, 50 where they really need those shots. That's when the basketball gods are going to reward Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors because of that decision of taking him out.
He's Reggie Miller. Reggie's got Timberwolves at the Raptors coming up Thursday night, 7 Eastern on TNT. What does Charles Barkley mean when he refers to the Warriors' style as little girly basketball?
Well, I'm as much as I love Charles, I'm shocked because if that's the case, all 30 teams are playing girly ball. If girly ball is shooting threes and playing perimeter, that's the NBA today. There is no low post back to the basket players teams. A little bit Memphis because of Zach and maybe Marc Gasol. A little bit, I wouldn't even say San Antonio because LaMarcus Aldridge at 6'10", 6'11", he's still he can play with his back to the basket.
He's a jump shooter.
Yeah, he's a jump shooter. So if the Warriors play girly basketball, then everyone's playing girly basketball because there are no longer those teams. Is Houston a girly basketball team? The Spurs? The Clippers, they play Lob City. Who's playing with their back to the basket? Charles, at times, he and it's okay. You've got to let go of the past. This is what the game is, man.
Well, he's just trolling people is all he's doing, Reg.
But it's the NBA now. It's all about threes, and there aren't really. Think about what teams play with their back, play low post basketball. Karl Anthony Towns, as great of a young talent as he is, Minnesota, he's shooting threes. Porzingis, shooting threes. Well, what big man do you want to play like big boy basketball? There aren't any anymore. So I think that's what probably is catching people off guard is like you're calling them girly basketball, but that's what everyone is doing.
I'm watching Porzingis the other night, and he's taken somebody off the dribble. He's 7'4". And
That's wonderful.
He's crossing over, taking somebody off the dribble.
Well, it shows you the evolution, not only of our game, but of our players. And that goes to Charles's point. Charles was great at handling the basketball for his size at 6'4", 6'5", and I'm being generous. And he could take guys off the dribbles. But Dirk, he revolutionized the big man at that power forward / center position with shooting and before the injuries to Dirk, being able to take a few dribbles and, the fadeaway and the high arcing foot. You see guys like Durant kind of emulating, his moves and so forth. So he changed that whole power forward position with the ability to stretch the floor, open up the floor, and we're kind of seeing the 2.0 version in Porzingis.
Reg is going to Toronto with my Timberwolves. Man, they've been a disappointment here, Reg.
They did have a big win on the road this week in Charlotte in overtime. But again, to me with Minnesota, it's all about a learning curve. And you've got great young talent. I mentioned Cat, Wiggins, Dunn, who should be getting more burn. Rubio,
Zach
But
LaVine.
It's all Zach LaVine, who's played fantastic. These guys, they got to figure out how to win, and that's the hardest part with a young team. And when you've got an old bulldog type coach like Tom Thibodeau, he's going to have to show a lot of patience. But I think at the end of the day, not this year, but give them a year or two, they are going to be fighting, for a top 4 spot in the Western Conference because of that young talent.
Safe travels to Toronto.
Theodore, you are truly the best. I am so excited that my man is back.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.